Good morning, or lunchtime's 12:30, isn't it? 12:30 summertime in the UK. I've just come on live in the group. I had planned an event and now Facebook won't let me in to my own event. So I've come on live in the group. So I'm just going to wait a minute so people can find me and get logged in and know where I am. Those of you who said you were coming, because I know people were planning to come. So I'll just make sure I'm here, I'm available. I am live. It says I'm live, so I'm hoping that I'm live. So if you can let me know if you can see me, hear me. Yes, because Facebook has been a right bugger this morning. I couldn't create the event. It won't let me in my own event. so there you go. So I thought, right, I'll go back to the old-fashioned method. I'll just go live in the group, and then I can tag people afterwards who may have missed it or said they wanted to come. So I'm sliding off my chair again. I keep sitting on a Pilates ball and then sliding off the front. All for the core, in a core. So yeah, if you can comment and let me know you're here, and that you can hear me, that would be great, because although it's live, I said I did a test run in the event group and it wouldn't let me go in. So I'm hoping that we are here now, because yay, hi Suzanne, thank you for that. So if I'm glancing down there, it's because I can see the comments down there. I can't see them on the screen, so I'm not being rude. So yeah, I've come on today to talk about your success mindset. Now, I'm not going to hold any punches with you today about the mindset you need to create success in your life, because I think in the spiritual line of work, and we are inclined sometimes to think that or we can be too soft on people, if I'm brutally honest, and people go, oh, I know I need to do this, but I'm not feeling good about it. We go, oh, there, dear, never mind, have another go later. And, or maybe that's not right for you. And we get so wrapped up in this being nice that we don't necessarily push people or nudge them or mentor them, not push, that's the wrong word. We don't necessarily challenge people when they need to be challenged. And I've worked all my life really in the spiritual world with various people, and so often I have seen people go, oh, I want to do so and so, no, this is what I was born to do, I want to shine my light to the world. And then when they come across the first challenge on that step to getting to where they want to be, they feel resistance because of fear, and then they step back and they go, oh, well, it didn't feel good, so I don't think it was aligned. And actually, if it's where your vision needs to go, if you're here and your vision is there and you want to get from here to there, you are going to meet challenges on the way through. It's not like your vision was over there, then you were going that way. That's going off track. But if you're meeting resistance, and that's normally just something you've got to push through. And how we do that, our mindset is really, really crucial. So I'm going to share with you really the nitty gritty of the mindset that you need to be successful. Now, this is also the mindset actually that we need to encompass our success mindset. I would say it's actually our spiritual mindset, because our success mindset is our soul going, I'm going to do this. This is what I was born to do. This is what I feel called to do, and I'm going to do this. Didn't put any lipstick on. Look, I've got no lips. So I've got a few notes because there's some things I wanted to share. So if I look down, I'm not being rude. But I feel very strongly about this mindset issue, I say, because I see so many people in the spiritual world putting band-aids on their life. Their life is falling around them, or they're not having the success that they want. They've got poor relationships, a poor job, poor spiritual connection, whatever that may be. And I use the word poor in not as it, not what they would wish to have. And then I went for a chakra healing, or I went for energy balancing, or I bought some crystals, And how do you feel? Oh yeah, I feel a bit better now. And has your life changed? Has your bank balance exploded with money? Has the relationship that you're in sorted itself out? Has, your health improved? No, I just feel a bit better because I bought these crystals. So in other words, it hasn't made one squat diddly bit of difference in your actual life, if you're brutally honest about it. You've done something to show you've taken action, and you say you feel better about it because it's, you've taken action, but it hasn't given you the results that you were looking for. And it's because people will not face those deep and difficult challenges. So that's what I said, this is going to be challenging today. I'm holding no punches. And I'm not blaming people for this, because there's so much spiritual stuff around that says, you know, we must be nice to people all the time. But nice doesn't necessarily mean telling them what they want to hear. Nice can be making them face the challenges, or helping them rather face the challenges, so that they can grow and develop and be the person that they were born to be. Because so often we show up in the world and we know we're doing ourselves a disservice. We're not being what we thought we should be. We're not living our true path. And your success mindset is actually your spiritual mindset. It's that rock solid core within you of belief. So I wanted to talk about that today. So now, I've said this many times, I was not brought up in an affluent family, and I've still got, you know, a lot of wealth creation that I want to do. I'm nowhere near where I was, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be either, you know. And attracting money is spiritual, because without that abundance, how can you help other people? How can you be philanthropic? How can you set up the charitable trusts that I want to do and things like that? So I need money to do that, need money to live out that purpose, because we live in a capitalist society, whether we like it or not. Money is our way of exchanging energy. So it's a tool. So we have to have that money in our toolkit. So I've said it, like I said many times, I was brought up constantly with family saying, you know, I can't afford that. And I found myself saying the very same thing to my children. Now, I'm not talking about spoiling people unrelentlessly, but I know what it is to be under the strain of poverty and financial burden. And to get out of that, we have to learn skills. Now, some of those will be in business or our occupation, but there are also skills within our own thinking, our own mindset that we have to master. So if you're not seeing the financial setup in your life, or you're not achieving what you want to achieve that's feeding your soul in your life, now there's something missing. Now, it's either A, in your mindset, or B, in your skill set, in what you need to do to attract that money or live the life you want. So let's say you feel a calling to be a circus performer, and you feel, do you know what? I was born to be a trapeze artist. Now, unless you learn how to be a trapeze artist, that you're never going to get there. So that would be your skill set missing. But if then you said, oh, do you know what? I don't think I can. I haven't got the courage. That's your mindset, because you haven't gone and enrolled in circus school and bought yourself a nice spangly leotard because you feel embarrassed about it. So your mindset needs to shift. So it's how much you've got to look really at closing that gap between your mindset and your vision. So where do you want to be and where you are? That gap needs to close. You need to find a bridge for that gap. So you got to look at yourself and think, how much have I actually committed in reality to getting where I want to be? Am I learning skills? Am I doing something to close that gap? So let's look at anybody who's successful in their field. You know, we can often say, oh, they're lucky, they've got excellent talent, they're really gifted, they've got some kind of secret to their success. But no one who is successful, there's no one who isn't successful, who hasn't been through extreme struggles and setbacks and difficulties to achieve their success. You know, every hero, if you like, every icon, and I've got business women who I follow, you know, spiritual teachers that I follow, not one of them hasn't been through struggles, because there is no hero out there that doesn't go through struggles, because struggle is the human experience. It's the nature of life. We are sent challenges so our soul can grow and develop, and we can learn to develop this inner strength. So, but the difference between people who are successful and connected to their soul and doing what they want to do, and those who aren't and are thinking, I'd really like to do this, but I'm stuck in a checkout, you know, stuck in a shop doing this work, when I really know I was made for this greatness. I was made to bring these gifts to the world and help people, or whatever it may be. And the reason that they're stuck is that there are two types of people. There are those that are, if you like, stoppable, and those that are unstoppable. I've just realised I've left the sound alert on my phone. I will just turn that off. There we go. Oops, can't see me. Right, sorry about that. And those people who are successful choose to be unstoppable. They choose to go, do you know what? I can do this no matter what. No matter what it takes or how long it takes, I can do this. Now, the women who come on my mentoring courses, I ask them sometimes to do some pretty strange things when it comes to working with energy and connecting to things that push their belief systems, that push their threshold of what is real and what is not. But they are willing to do some of the things I say to do because they are of that level that they go, I know that I can earn my next million in 6 months, or I can do this from the high-end mentoring package. I'm going to find that dream property, or I'm going to do this by taking this action. And it's well beyond their comfort zone. It's well beyond their frame of reference. But because a lot of them are successful business women, have already been through struggle, they realise that sometimes they've got to push themselves to do things they don't necessarily feel particularly comfortable with to start, and they will become comfortable doing it further down the line. So people who are successful choose to overcome. It might be spiritual disconnect. It might be financial disconnect, embarrassment, of how they're going to look like, fear of how friends and family are going to react. All that plays a massive part in how we make our decisions. So when we're at these crossroads of decision making, and I have been there, I've spoke about this before, leaving an abusive marriage. I was at that crossroads of the decision making, and I could have thought, it's going to be too hard because I'm going to have nowhere to live. I've lost my income. I've done all, I just can't actually do that because I'm just so scared. But I didn't. I packed myself and my 2 children in the car when my husband was out of the house, and we left. Because my soul was telling me, you've got to make this brave decision. Because if you don't make this brave decision, you're going to be broken. So the human spirit, our soul, is unstoppable. It doesn't want to stop. It wants to keep going. It wants to keep moving forward. So you have to learn to say, I can do this when faced with that fear and that pain and that struggle and that uncertainty and that embarrassment and thinking, what's going to happen with my relationship or my family? We have to keep going. You're not asking for their approval. You're not asking for their approval. You don't have to be sanctioned. And, you if they can support you, well and good. If they can't, then you've really got to assess that relationship about who you are surrounding yourself with when you're choosing to do something different. So I'm just refreshing so I can see the comments. So how many people find themselves holding themselves back because they don't want to offend somebody? It could be your spouse, your partner, mother, father, children, friends, family. Do you find yourself holding yourself back, worrying about what other people think of you? When I say, I know I did when I started my spiritual business, of saying to, how are business women going to react when I say, do you know what? You need to go down the bottom of your garden and talk to the fairies. You think, they're going to think I'm a bloody lunatic, aren't they? But no, I had to come and do it because I'm committed to people understanding what deep spiritual connection is. And yes, that sounds rather blasé, doesn't it? But our mind fields, our neurochemistry, our everything is connected intimately. We are not separate from this outside world. And as I spoke about this before, this outside world is full of energy, but this energy has its own consciousness. And deep spiritual connection is not just about sitting there meditating, looking at a candle and doing it in some kind of vacuum. We really need to connect to these outside energies. So yeah, so I felt this fear of going, oh my God, I've got to tell people, or oh my pan, or oh my goddess, whatever it may be, I've got to tell people what I actually do. So there's this deep fear. And there isn't one person who hasn't reached success, or who is watching this now, or maybe watching this later, who hasn't got, 1,000 stories or 1,000 excuses as to why they can't live their spiritual truth, why they can't bring their gifts to the world. How many excuses do you come up with? Say, oh, it's not going to be, we all do it, don't we? Yeah, definitely. We're super challenging society to be out. Yeah, other people's judgments. It is really hard. And particularly as women, we're brought up to, what's the word I'm looking for? Defer. We're brought up to often defer to other people. Or you can't do that because it'll upset your husband, upset your children. We're always bottom of the list. And we really need to, if we're deferring all the time. So, those excuses, I'd say they can be, it's not a good time, my spouse doesn't support me, I'm just not ready, which we all know is a big fat lie because we're never, ever ready. I'm doing some stuff next month. You know, I'm doing a big live launch, really interesting stuff that will help people connect to energy on ways that, you know, I haven't really done yet in this group. So I'm planning that. Am I ready? Am I hell ready? You know, do I feel fear? Of course I feel fear. But you know what? I'm doing it anyway, because what's the worst that can happen? You know, people will hopefully learn and get more value from it than anything they've paid for. And on the plus side, some of those people will come and decide to work with me on a one-to-one basis. But yeah, I'm fearful. I'm scared. I don't know how to do it all yet. Technology is, you know, it's actually less about technology. You know, we need to connect more as people. That's what I quite like doing lives, because, you know, there's so many funnels and automations and stuff out there, you know, and yeah, we can talk to each other. You know, I can answer your questions. You can put them in. We can have one-to-ones. We can have this dialogue about you and your life. So, you know, funnels and automations, you know, I think people are fed up of this automated world. We want contact with a human being, these genuine relationships, so that person can say to them, I understand where you are and I think I can help you. Now, do you want to let me help you get there? Are you willing to make that investment in yourself? Anyway, going through over all those fears is what makes you unstoppable. And, you know, you have a choice. The choices are difficult. You always have a choice, though. I mean, my mum was kept very much under the thumb by her family when she divorced my father. Really was. And then later she said, oh, but I didn't have a choice, so I couldn't leave. And all I said, don't deny there's a choice. You know, I love my mum to bits, but don't deny there's a choice. There is always a choice. It's just not necessarily a pleasant one. And we have to be brave and we have to be fearless. And people who create their own dream life are fearless. I didn't get any water, so I'm parched. So they make themselves responsible and accountable. And they say that despite all my stories and all my excuses and everything that's happened in the past, despite all those setbacks, they choose to say, you know, I will make this work for me. I will do the work and I will get the results. And I know this to be true because this is what I started to do. You know, I had a face-to-face business doing healings and auras and chakras and clearing people's houses. And, you know, I decided it wasn't enough. I wasn't earning the income that I wanted to earn. I wasn't reaching the people that I wanted to work. So I decided to create an online business and learn how to do that and learn all the tech, learn how to reach people, how to market. I'm still learning. I don't get it right all the time. You know, sometimes I write a post and it's get loads of comments and I think I thought it was rubbish. Other times I write one and think, whoa, that's quite deep and clever, you know, and tumbleweed. Don't be deep and clever online. We don't need to be. So your attitude and your mindset are key. And, you know, we all struggle. Like I say, we all fall down. We all have bad days. And we have to keep showing up. You know, we cannot do one podcast or one live event and expect suddenly the world to go, oh my God, there you are. You know, we have to keep showing up. And I had this conversation actually with a male colleague who's hopefully going to get him as a guest expert on here soon, because it's absolutely fascinating the work that Sean does. And he said, oh, you know, he was getting a bit despondent when I saw him last week. And he said, oh, you know, I do these things and I was expecting. I said, yeah, it's very male thinking. I said, I dubbed that the ejaculation moment, that it's a one-shot deal, whereas you have to operate from your divine feminine and you can go again and again and again, you know. So put that energy behind it, which he thought was hilariously funny, that, you know, he'd got to get out this masculine thinking of, and we're all actually guilty of that in modern society because we're brought up to think very masculine. So failure is never final unless you choose to quit. You know, I've done events that went well. I've done events that didn't go so badly face to face. You know, I've tried things online that have worked. I've tried and go, that didn't work. How can I tweak it to get it to work? Failure is not final until we choose to quit. Everything is just a learning experience. I've said, and in a while, you know, not too distant past, my life was on struggle and failure on repeat. Struggle, failure, struggle, failure, struggle, failure. But we have to keep going and we have to keep showing up. You know, I used to be embarrassed in front of my colleagues. You know, oh, how's the business going? Oh, it's all right. You know, and I had enough clients, but, you know, I was stuck in that abusive marriage. I hadn't told anybody, so my life was a sham. You know, and now, you know, I look at how my life has changed, how my family circumstances have changed because I was brave and I was fearless. So had I let failure become final, because I chose not to keep going, not to keep trying, not to keep reinvesting in myself, not to keep learning, where would I be right now? you know, I'd probably be alcoholic, stuck in an abusive marriage with more broken bones, or I may not even be here. I think I was probably almost on the verge of suicide when I left, and that, you know, that was, or a nervous breakdown. Something would have happened. So you have to interpret the, if you like, the data from your learning experiences. What worked and what didn't. Just because you've said to someone, oh, I've got this idea and I want to do that, and that person has gone, ooh, really? Don't let that one person, that's one piece of data, don't let that one person who's come from their limiting beliefs and their view set talk you out of it. So, you know, you're in a moment of decision, really. At any given time, you're in a moment of decision. Are you going to choose to do what your heart is telling you to do? Are you going to choose to follow that path? Or are you going to carry on doing what you're doing in the present, but it's not actually giving you the results that you want? It's not getting you where you need to be. So I was just refreshing the comments, and you know me, I can't look at a screen and lose my chain of thought if I so much as try and click on my mouse to look at comments, and every word that was wound up to go in my head just, you know, gets off the bus. So you have to keep reminding yourself, I suppose, that you owe it to yourself to take one more step. And I'm going to talk about decision making with regard to, it could be finances or coaching or anything in a minute, and where we come from. So, you know, 2020 it's not been a good year for a lot of people, let's face it, has it? So, you know, it's been a tough year. It has not been business as usual. You know, I went to launch a program earlier in the year, and it was right when COVID stuck. And, you know, it wasn't a good time, and that launch wasn't successful. That's fine. I learned from that, and took that experience forward. But, you know, being financially independent and spiritually secure makes all the hardship in the world that much easier to deal with. We don't, you know, it doesn't knock us sideways. It doesn't take us off our feet. We're not panicking about where's the income going to come from? What can I do? When we're more following our path, because those things we're less affected by outside forces. You know, you make your own business, you start to make your own economy, you get the right different sort of clients in, and, you know, and that's only possible when you've got this fearless mindset. So I also want to talk about the mindset, about, you know, personal development and spiritual development and coaching and mentoring. So we all need mentors. You know, I have spiritual coaches, I have business coaches. I'm coming to the end with one business coach. There's another one I want to go with next, which, when I spoke to my mum about the level of investment the other night, she was kind of like, ah! And it was like, yeah, but I know that's where I need to be to get where I want to go, you know. And it's about, I'm going to talk to you about decision making, because this is true whether we want to go on you know, a gong bath workshop, or whether we want to invest in a spiritual or business mentor. So let's look at the decision making program between people who are successful and people who aren't, people who are rich and people who are poor. So poor people, and I use the word poor not just financially, because they're often, when we're poor financially, we're often poor in other areas, in relationships and all sorts of things. We're lacking, and it's not because we're actually lacking in ourselves, it's just that life has put us in that position, and then we need to up-level our mindset, we need to up-level our emotions to learn that lesson and move out. But poor people make decisions about how much a thing costs on face value. So let's say, you know, my high-end ticket is currently £10,000. So from a poor mentality, people go, oh my God, that's £10,000. That seems like a lot of money. But the women who actually come into the program are usually very successful business women. They've already got money. They may not have all of that, because nobody's ever got that lying around. Don't get me wrong, that's why there's monthly payments, but they can afford the monthly payment. And for some of them, it is a stretch, you know. But they look at the program and go, that program is £10,000. Now, this program will teach me how to make, you know, deep, sustainable and spiritual connection to my environment. That's going to help me to learn and grow as a person. That's going to be reflected in my business success, in my relationships, the ease and flow and abundance that I create in my life. Plus, it's going to be totally outside my normal experience. So those things are going to help me achieve my goals and dreams. That's what those clients are things. So her decision making is made on a different, more elevated model of thinking. Do you see the difference? So decisions then made on return on investment. Now, this isn't just financial return on investment, because if you're selling weight loss programs, the return on investment for that program is weight loss, or I want to stop smoking. Their return on their investment is not financial. There's loads of people who do stuff, the return on investment is not financial. And of the wealthy or aligned mentality make decisions based on return on investment. And this is a huge shift that requires you to have this courage, this success mindset that doesn't get swayed by somebody else going, ooh, that's a lot of money. Like when I spoke to my mum about my next level investment in my coaching, I said to her, I want to go on this coaching package and it's going to cost X. Now she went, my God, that's a lot of money. What if it doesn't work? And I was like, no, you're misinterpreting what the question was. I'm going on that program. Yes, it costs X, but it's going to give me X, Y, and Z to get to where I want to be. And I've already committed to doing the work. And it's not whether what is in the program works. It's I will do the work and I will make it work. It's all in your mindset. So make decisions, if you like, betting on yourself. So when coaches, there's so much coaching material online that will, I can guarantee you will get that and guarantee you will get this result. We can't guarantee any results. You have to, you have to show up and do your work, do the work. In your heart, and in your soul, and in your gut, and in your dreams. You've got to do the work to get those. Nobody else can guarantee it for you. Nobody else is going to get there. So you have to believe, if you like. I've called these things your intentions, these seeds, these intentional seeds. You have to believe in these intentional seeds. You have to believe in your vision for the future, and you have to be willing to bet on yourself. And you have to be willing to believe in yourself. You're not looking for outside validation. This is the other thing I want to touch on. So there's the mindset with which we invest in ourselves and the return on investment. Because when we spend with a coach, whatever, we are investing actually in ourselves. And then the other issue that stops us today is this validation. It's what other people think. So you have to realise, if you like, that if you're wanting to go into the spiritual world and coach people and do things or help people, it could be as an animal therapist, it could be whatever, but no one is going to be willing to bet on you if you're not willing to bet on yourself. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, what is going to encourage people to invest in you if you have no faith in what you're capable of bringing? If you haven't got faith in yourself, why should they have faith in you? If you feel, if you're not living, if you're afraid to step into your soul's path and live your dreams, why is anybody else going to follow you? This is part of the role of leading when we're, coaching, mentoring, or just leading in our community, in our family, for our children. We need to step into our power, and I'm passionate about helping women do this. And, I like to do it through connections to nature and connections to earth energy. There are many other modalities that we can do it with. Just that's my bit, because, I like to marry intellect and intuition, which strangely enough is one of the 5 spiritual pathways in the Vedic tradition that we can either go through, meditation or emotion or intellect and intuition. And that's the route my soul has chosen to path my soul has chosen. So, validation is, you're not looking for validation from someone else. You have to keep showing up again and again and again, doing the interviews, doing the podcasts, doing the workshops, doing the demonstrations. You have to keep showing up again and again and again. If you're going live like I do, you have to keep going live, whether you get no responses, no views, you have to keep showing up, and then that audience will build. People will start to find you, people start to connect to you. I've done lives, I've done podcasts, guest appearances, to no great aplomb or applause, it has to be said, but I don't need validation from other people to do what I do. I know what it works, and I know those people who work with me know that it works. So if you're looking for validation from family or spouses or friends, that's part of the mindset that you've got to knock on the head. If your soul is calling you to do something, then go for it. So, oh yes, gonna stick to music. Thank you. I've not been catching up with the comments. I do apologise. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's about doing what we feel called to do. You know, don't do anything that, you know, and it doesn't mean we can't, you know, be a multi-area entrepreneur as you get going, but it's best to stick to one thing at a time to start with. So I'm not going to go on for hours and hours and hours, even though I've made a lot more notes, because I can talk for hours, can't I? We know that. So I don't want to talk for hours and bore you all. But if you're not living, this is the one thing I will say, if you're not living with this successful mindset of going, I can do this and I don't need validation, and I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to do whatever it takes, I'm going to be disciplined. If you're looking to others, I say, to validate you, or you're letting them dictate what you can do, or don't do that because I don't know what my friends are going to think about you doing that. You know, how is that going to make us look? That's what's holding you down and keeping you stuck. That's what's preventing your soul from living out your path. You're abdicating your power. You're giving it away to other people. Or sometimes, you know, there comes a point in our life where we have to stand firm if we want to live our soul's path, if we want to step into, you know, what we want to do. We have to just be brave. And it's the fear is something you get over. It doesn't get, you know, it doesn't mean that we never fear doing things again, but it gets easier and we develop a skill set and a mindset that means we can do it. So as it's coming up to the weekend, what I want to do is I want to encourage you to take your power back. I want you to say to yourself, I believe that I was made for more. And the life that I dream of is accessible to me. So it's going to be your mantra over the weekend, that is. It's, I believe I was made for more, and I believe that the life I dream of is accessible to me. We have to learn to break down these limiting beliefs. So I want you to draw a line in the proverbial sand over the weekend and say, tomorrow is a new phase. Tomorrow I'm going to handle things differently. Tomorrow I'm going to respond differently. We can't often, you know, alter our first thought when somebody says something to us, we go, oh God, yeah. We can alter our second thought or action and how we respond. So if someone says, oh, I don't want you doing that, you know, our first response may be, oh, maybe that, and then, but we don't have to act upon that. We can sit there and think, hang on, why don't you want me to do that? And how much do I want to do this? How important is me? So what we want to get is more courageous, ideally courageous in our decision making. Now, it doesn't come without risk, it doesn't come without pain, and it doesn't come without sacrifice. But that courage is really important. We live in a world where you can, if you believe you can make the life you want to, you can make it. But it's not going to be, as I say, without a sacrifice, and it's not going to be without discipline, and you have to have this sort of long range, shall we call it, long range discipline and commitment. Don't, you know, this is what the keeping showing up is for. Otherwise we will show up and do something and it's not a raging success, and then we will give up. Instant gratification does not serve us. This is something else I'm going to be talking about hopefully in the future. Well, I will be. That don't be that person who just shows up and goes, hello, here I am, and then it doesn't work, goes, okay, that's how I'm giving up. Because that doesn't serve you either. So success doesn't happen by chance. We have to make courageous, strong decisions. And, you know, success, as I say, doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. And you are the creator of your own life. You have the freedom of choice. The universe, source, God, your soul has has given you, your soul, the freedom of choice. You know, you've been given this opportunity to be part of this rich tapestry of life. You can create it in any way that you want. But the thing that stops us putting the paint on the canvas or the words to the song that is life is when we allow ourselves to be constrained or dictated by other people. And that reflects in our fears, and this lack of courageous decision making. So we all have a shot of living the life that we want, and you are the designer of that. And if your soul, your success, your spiritual mindset, which it is, says, this is what I want to do, this is what I was born to do, this is what I came in to do, this is how I can help the world. If we're not courageous in following through with those decisions, then we become spiritually disconnected from ourselves, and we find ourselves in marriages and situations and jobs where we know we're doing ourselves a disservice. We know we're not showing up in life in a way that we know that we can. So I'm inviting you to take the time over the weekend to ponder on some of this, because I haven't hold back with the punches. So ask yourself over the weekend, what do I want from life? And what am I prepared to do to get there? Now, if you're thinking, oh, I can't do that because, you need to look at that fear. So those outcomes, that life that you want, that dream life, is created by extreme intention and action. So it's not just a question of writing little affirmations in the morning going, yep, done the affirmations. It's extreme intention and action, focused, disciplined. Feel it with every cell of your body, connect to it. The life that you want doesn't happen by default. It happens by design. So look around you at the life you're living. What life are you designing by default at the moment by not being courageous and unstoppable in your decision makings, by letting other people, by seeking outside validation? And this is so common with women, unfortunately, because of how we're brought up. I say to defer. It's also incredibly common amongst women who can be very spiritual and energetic and empathic, because we can feel overwhelmed by things. So when we go to step into that soul's path and it all just feels a bit challenging and oh, it doesn't feel good, I need to back off. Oh, this is good. This feels right now. This feels safe and secure. You've actually just put yourself back from the very place you were trying to step out of. So over the weekend, I invite you to think about, what do I want from life and what am I prepared to do to get there? So hope I haven't lectured too much at you this morning. So if I haven't responded to your comments, as I say, bear a very little brain, can't refresh the comments and speak at the same time. Multitasking in that way is not my forte. I can crochet and talk at the same time. That's a bit different. So I hope you've got some value from this, and just, be brave in your decision making. Don't hold on to things that don't serve you. Don't hold on to relationships that don't serve you. It doesn't mean you just got to drop people like a ton of bricks, but it's like, you're not asking for their approval, you're asking for their support. And if they're not going to support you, if they're just going to criticize you and challenge you, how much time do you want to spend being around that person? It doesn't mean you've got to cut them out of your life. Though sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to be a bit brutal. We have to do some pruning. But just have a think about your decision-making process and what you do. And are you fearless? Are you courageous? Are you being unstoppable? Or are you allowing yourself to be stopped and held back and dictated to? Because the choice is yours, and there is always a choice. Right, I'm going to go and leave you with that sobering thought for the weekend now. And and I will get a reply to all the comments. And I will get back to you for anybody. So, and if anybody obviously is wants to work with me on my Sacred Feminine Living program, we can have a chat about that. That's the high end. I would say it's a real in-depth program about connecting you in deep spiritual ways to nature spirits, elemental beings, all kinds of levels of consciousness out there in nature, and all those different levels of energy, and working that into your daily spiritual practice of who you ask for support, how you set your business up, when you do things, why you're doing things, and bringing all that into your unstoppable, courageous decision making and action taking, to know that you've got this whole network, this big support team around you, so that you are unstoppable, but you're not alone, and you are instantly connected to all these marvellous energies and consciousnesses all around us. So, oh, Beverly says, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who can't teach and watch comments at the same time. No. I mean, I used to do a lot of lecturing and things, and even then when it got to the questions at the end, I'd be thinking, that was, yeah, so, yeah, bear a very little brain. Well, I think it's just, yeah, it's just technology. So, I mean, one screen there, one screen here, and, you know, trying to operate a mouse and be sitting and breathing at the same time. I mean, that's 5 things, isn't it? You know, it's like, or is it 5 or is it 4? Well, I can't even count. See, can't count. So it's probably 5 and I can't count and read comments. Anyway, I'm going now because it's Friday and I need a cup of tea and I've got some stuff to do. So have a good weekend all, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.